Hi,
Hey,
I'm Julia,
and I'm Amanda,
and this is Much Needed Advice.
a podcast for people who want to know what to do. Hey, listeners. This is a bonus episode from our conversation with Todd Chi in Bali, Indonesia. Todd is so multifaceted and gave us so much interesting content. There was no way we could fit it all into one episode. So, feel free to listen to this clip as a standalone story or as a teaser for going back and listening to parts 1 and 2. After you've listened, please follow, subscribe, rate, and review. That helps ensure we can continue to bring you human stories from all over the world. Thanks for supporting M&A.
So you're going to tell us the prison story or what? If not, you got to give us an equally exciting story.
Well, that came... Yeah, I have a lot of stories. So the prison one happened when I quit university, quit America, went to Barcelona, did the second half of the university. I was really enjoying my meditations and getting into that, and I was loving just having a good time and going to lots of parties and festivals and being with friends and exploring myself. So that's when I also started exploring different types of drugs, and really I approached it in a conscious way, not in a way that I was trying to escape myself. I was actually approaching taking these things in a way to dive into myself in a deeper, more intense way. And I went to go to a festival in the south of Spain, and I had a large amount of LSD with me. It was a 7-day festival, so
it was warranted.
we need a lot, So me and my friends, we were going to have a good time. It was a psychedelic trance festival in the south of Spain, in the forest.
That sounds awesome.
They are awesome. They are amazing. And on the very first day, the police jumped out of the bushes from behind us just as we were unpacking our stash, you could say. And they took us in. They told us to come to the police station with them. And they told us it would just be a few hours and we'll be let go. And then a few hours turned into a day, and a day turned into 3 days in the hole, and waiting to see the judge, who was supposed to come on the very first day in the first few hours, but then he couldn't come for 3 days. So we were in a hole for 3 days. And then they didn't know what to do with us, so they sent us to another judge, and that judge didn't know what to do with us, so he decided to send us to a prison. And so we went to prison while they decided what to do with us.
This is what? This is allowed? There was no bail? There was no trial?
No, they weren't even, not at the time. And they considered LSD to be a grade A drug. And basically grade A meant that it was high, very, very bad.
The most serious offense.
A high serious offense. So I was looking at 7 to 10 years minimum. Yeah. So I was in the prison, and then there's different segments of the prison. There's section 1 and 2 for the mass murderers. There's section 3 and 4 for the people who are on drugs and can't get off drugs, and they're all taking pharmaceuticals to kind of stay on drugs. And then there's the section that I was in was for the drug dealers, the rapists, and the thieves. So we had an interesting little group of people. Interesting squad.
What a combo.
Yeah.
Were your friends?
But it was pretty intense when we
went.
went through, because we walked through the whole prison before we reached my section.
So you passed the other two
Yeah,
groups.
so as I walked into the one which was the mass murderers, we walked right into the center of the courtyard, and it was you could feel the eyes on you. You could feel the intensity of all these people, and you look up in the windows and you just see these faces and eyes just staring down
the
at you.
Bloodthirst.
Yeah, you could just feel the intensity of the energy of just being watched. And then when we walked into our section as well, it was just a glass wall between us and the security guard that we had to speak to, and the whole of that section of the prison just walked up to the glass, and they're just staring at us, just looking up and down, just checking you out head to toe, hair greased back, some of them shirts off, piercings, all all the things you would expect to find in a prison.
And the next thing you know, one of them goes, "Hey, mate."
Funny thing was,
Turns out they're the friendliest people you've
turns out, yeah, they were super friendly. Some of them were super friendly. It was quite funny. Actually, funny part was on the very first day, this guy really wants to talk to me. So we get chatting, and he tells me why he's in there. And so he said he was in there for selling these pills, these ecstasy pills. And I had actually been taking those pills as well. At the time, they were really, really good. They were really fun.
So where you're like, "You're my dealer."
Yeah.
Yay.
He was like, he brought them in from whatever country into Spain. He was supplying the whole of Spain. And I was like, no way. I had those ones too. Like, they're amazing. He was like, yeah. They're the best, aren't they? I'm like, yeah, they're the best. They're amazing. So we bonded. We got on really great the first day. But then after 3 days, he suddenly disappeared. So he just, I don't know where he went. No one knows where he went. He just disappeared. I don't know. He got moved to a different section but we didn't see him again. I was like, oh, anyway.
Damn. Did you make any other friends in prison?
I did, yeah.
Were they all?
There was like some older people who, massive coke dealers. And there was one old guy who was just gung-ho on when he gets out, he's going to kill this other guy who set him up. There was some other people talking about all these different countries where they can do it better and like get really good deals. And they were just sorting out good deals for as soon as they get out. There were like the group of Moroccans who were constantly importing and smuggling hash inside and smoking. And they were like, you want some? I was like, I'm just going to take it easy for my first, couple of weeks while I just feel my way through this place. And they would each come up to me individually as the group and kind of ask me my story and tell me their story. Some tried to be intimidating and some tried to be friendly. They each do their own thing. And then there's the bodybuilders, and then there's the people who like to play football all the time. And then there's kind of the rapists who are kind of weird. They kind of had their own thing going on. And those guys were pretty strange as a whole. Yeah.
So do all rapists have like a similar vibe?
Yeah. There was one person in there that was just, I couldn't look at him. I was like, it was painful, extremely painful to just look at this man or even feel like he was close. It was so disturbing. It was so disturbing. It's the most disturbing person I've ever seen. But you don't even need to see him. Just his vibe was the most, so twisted, so disgusting. It was just the worst. And I think he had raped like one of his family members or something, his niece, but his energy was horrendous.
That's what I'm talking about with that guy the other day.
Yeah.
I felt like I was sitting next to Joran van der Sloot. You know what I'm talking about?
But I'll tell you one thing, there was a ping pong table there.
Oh.
And obviously me being a tennis player, I worked up to the ping pong table, became, people loved it.
Is it better to beat everyone or to let certain people win in prison?
I treaded cautiously. I learned to not play chess with anyone. Didn't go down so good.
Ooh, the chess players have more of an ego than the ping pong players. So how long were you in prison for?
A month and a half. Yeah. But the whole time it was supposed to be, like the whole time I was in there, I was prepared for 7 to 10 years. And then it was only at the very last minute that my lawyer came in and he's like, okay, we can get you out in the next few days if you pay so much. And so
you were grateful.
Yeah, I was very happy that I was very stable in my meditations and in my own being, in my own mind at the time. I could stay kind of clear and content within myself. I felt like I had my own home, my own peace within my own mind all the time. So I actually wasn't that stressed out, to be honest. I was like, if I have to stay in prison for 7 years, 10 years, this is a good opportunity for me to just focus on my meditations and maybe just become enlightened. I just tried to turn it to the flip side, and I was like, okay, now I've got so much time for myself, I can just go really deep in my meditations. That's what I was thinking, and reading books. And then the lawyer came with this information, and I was like, okay. So, I contacted my whole family to round up the money to get me out. But the sad part is my whole family then knew that I was in prison and I was seen as this terrible person who was living a terrible life and went down a wrong path, which I felt was very contrary because I was living the best life ever. I was so clear with my mind. I was in such a good internal place. But on the outside, it looks like I'm in a terrible place, right? playing with drugs. I've been going to parties. I'm in prison. So it was this contrast, which my internal state was amazing, but the external, everyone, my whole family thought, I left it to the last minute to tell my mother that I was there, but I knew if anyone's going to get me out, it's going to be my mother. She's going to fight in every way possible. She'll move heaven and earth to help me.
Oh, that's a good mom.
Gotta love moms.
Yeah.
Can you recommend your favorite book to our listeners?
What if he doesn't read?
He just said he reads. In prison.
I did read a lot of books. A nice fun read, if you haven't read it, is Siddhartha. It's just more like a nice story.
Yeah.
You know that one, you guys?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Siddhartha, yeah, it's a nice book. Let me see. I can recommend looking into the books written by Michael Rhodes. He was a big catalyst in my life, in the beginning phases of my awakening, you could say.
We'll link them in the description.